Americans have a lot of debt. Just how much debt are we talking about? Well, the answer may surprise you, so be warned. I'm going to share some statistics. It might be a little scary, but here we go. On average, people have a little over $7,000 in credit card debt. They take out new car loans on average of a little over $40,000, and people graduate with a bachelor's degree with almost $40,000 in student loans. That's a lot of debt. Are you tired of your debt? Are you just like, oh my gosh, I want to be done, but you don't know how? Well, you've come to the right place. Today, we're going to talk about how to put together a plan to totally pay off all of your debt. Hey guys, Cooper here. Real quick, if you could do me a huge favor and smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel so that way you never miss a video. It'd really mean a lot to me. So without further ado, let's jump into the video. Let's go pay off some debt. So the first thing we need to do when paying off your debt is figure out where the debt came from. I can tell you that a vast majority of the time it comes from people's spending habits. That may not be your case. I understand that there are situations such as people having medical bills, car problems, people losing a job, and just for whatever reason, something out of your control happens that allows this debt to accumulate. But a vast majority of the time, it comes from people spending. The best thing that for us to do at the very beginning is to get a hold of your spending. Personally, I use an app called Empower. There's lots of good budgeting services out there. Empower is a good one. Mint's a good one. You Need a Budget's a good one. But personally, I like to use Empower. I'll drop a link to their website below. What I like to use it for is it goes through and it allows you to categorize all of your spending. And what we're going to do after you log into your account, you put in your bank account information, and it'll give you a log of how much you spend in every category. We're going to look at two things there. We're going to look at the money that you need to spend. These are going to be your fixed cost. So your mortgage or rent, your gas, groceries, minimum debt payments. I know that for paying off your debt, you're going to make higher than the minimum debt payments, but for the step one here, we're just going to look at the minimum debt payments, and we're going to talk about strategies to pay it all off quicker a little later on in the video. So the second part of step one is to make a list of all the things that you spend your money on, that you want to spend your money on. So this is your entertainment. This is, for example, going down to B-Dubs for beers and wings, going down to the mall to buy, the new clothes, handbag or whatever, or it could be going down to the movies with the large popcorn, a large soda, although I do have to admit, most of the time I go down to the movies, it's just because I want the popcorn, because movie theater popcorn really is the best. Once you have all your spending categorized, what we're going to do is we're going to look at your fixed costs and try to find some wiggle room there to save yourself some money. Maybe you're renting an apartment that the rent's a little high and you can move somewhere, save yourself a few $100 a month on rent. Maybe you live close enough to work that you could start biking to work at least a few times a week, save yourself some money on gas, not to mention the extra health benefits. Maybe you don't need all of the subscriptions you have to Netflix and Hulu and Disney Plus and HBO Max and Peacock and Paramount Plus, and I don't even know what all there is out there, but I'm sure that there's somewhere in your fixed cost you can figure out how to cut back and save yourself a little bit of money. For example's sake, I'm going to assume that after we go through everything, you have an extra $300 a month to throw towards your debt. Obviously, some people's numbers are going to be higher, some people's numbers are lower, but just for simplicity's sake, we're going to assume that you found $300 a month to cut back. Now, I'm going to surprise you with this next part. I'm not going to suggest that you do the same thing and cut out all of your want to spending. The reason I'm not going to suggest that you totally cut out all of your fun money or all of your entertainment spending is because that's not sustainable. I feel like all-in philosophies or all-out philosophies as far as spending or anything like that, it's not sustainable. You're not going to have any enjoyment with your life, and you're not going to stick with it. The analogy would be, if you go on a crash diet where you say, I'm going to eat 0 carbs for the next 40 years of my life, no matter what. You just can't keep it up. I remember the first time I tried to eat keto, I was doing great for the first, few months. I think I probably ate a total of 5 carbs a day, and I hated every moment of it. Then we went to a family dinner to an Italian restaurant. As you can imagine, there's not a lot of great zero carb options with all the bread and pasta. And I just gave in. I probably ate 3,000 calories worth of bread and pasta and carbs that night. All that being said, crash diets are all in, all out philosophies. Like, they're not sustainable. So we need to find a way that we can cut back on your entertainment, but still have an enjoyable life. So what I'm going to suggest is you pick 1 or 2 things that you really enjoy doing and still do those things, and then cut out the rest, at least just for the time being. Obviously, once you get your debt paid off, you can start adding some of those things back in. But right now, we're just going to see how much we can cut out, but still keep your life enjoyable. This may look something like, for example, if your favorite thing to do or one of your favorite things is to go out to eat, still go out to eat, but maybe cut it back to once a week instead of 2 or 3 times a week. If your thing is going to the movies, maybe still go to the movie, but then don't go out to dinner like right before, or something along those lines. If you still really want to go shopping, like you have that thing, like that handbag you really want, or those clothes you really want, great, but maybe you don't go out to eat that month, or something along those lines. Like, allow yourself to still have fun with your money, but find the things that you don't care about as much and cut back. I believe in the philosophy of you can have anything you want, you just can't have everything you want. So pick the things that are really, really important to you, and then just cut costs as aggressively as you can everywhere else. One thing that my wife and I did when we were working on saving money and paying off debt was, our favorite things were going out to eat and movies, but for date night, instead of going out to pizza and then going to the movie, we would order Domino's and watch a movie at home. So save us, probably $100 or so a week, but we still got to spend time together. We still got to eat our favorite food, and we still got to, just enjoy a movie together. If your favorite thing is going down to Target and decorating your house with all that seasonal stuff, like my house is decorated with, that's fine. Just, maybe instead of going out to eat, or instead of cooking steak and whatever for dinner, you're going to have chicken for dinner from now on. On a side note, like, what's with everyone's obsession with Target? I get it. They have some cool stuff down there, but it seems like everyone and their mother is just obsessed with Target. Like, I hear story after story of someone going down, they're saying, I'm going to get 1 or 2 things. And then they walk out with a shopping cart full of $250 worth of stuff. And they just say, well, I don't even know what happened. I just went down to get 1 or 2 things. And then, I don't know, the shopping cart just filled up. Don't get me wrong. Like, if that's your thing, like, that's your thing. It's not mine. I don't get it. But I'm not judging you. Okay, yeah, I'm judging you a little bit. But I'm just some dude on a camera, like, so who really cares what I think? You do you, and that's all that matters. Anyway, let's get back on track here. After we go through all of your want to spend or all of your fun money, we're gonna do the same exact thing we did with your fixed costs. We're gonna see the difference in your previous fun money spend and what your new budget is for your fun money. And just to make the math simple, we're gonna assume we found an extra $200 a month. So remember that $300 that we found earlier in your fixed costs. We're going to take that plus the $200 a month that we found in your fund money, and we're going to use that $500 total for paying off your debt quicker. So what we're going to do is we're going to make all of your minimum payments, and then we're going to use that extra $500 a month to pay off your debt. I know that we went over the budgeting super quick. If you'd like to see a more in-depth video on how to make a budget or how to budget effectively, you can watch that budget video here. I'll put a link in the description as well. Now, what do we do with that extra $500 a month? Well, this is the hardest part of the video. The hardest part about your debt payoff plan is we're gonna have to list out all your debt. I know it's not fun. I know it sucks. I know that people just hate looking at their debt, but unfortunately, it's not gonna go anywhere until we do something about it. And on the bright side, this is gonna be the hardest time, and this is gonna be the worst that your debt ever looks, because from this day on, moving forward, every single month when you look at your debt, it's going to come down, it's going to get better. So just know that this is a one-time thing. We're just going to go list all out, and then it's going to improve every single month. So we're going to list out all of your debts on a spreadsheet, and we're looking at the balance, the minimum payment, and the interest rate. And then we're going to use that extra $500 a month to pay off all of your debt. Now let's talk about the most effective way to use that $500 a month to pay off your debt. There's 2 common schools of thought here. There's the debt snowball method and the debt avalanche method. The debt snowball method will have you list out all of your debts and pay off the debt with the lowest balance first, and then the second lowest balance, and then the next lowest balance, and so on and so forth, until you paid off all of the accounts with low balance and can throw literally everything you have at the debt with the highest balance. The advantage here is that you get a little psychological win with every single debt you paid off. And there's a lot to be said to have a whole checklist and write out all of your debts and then be able to start checking off boxes or crossing debts off as quickly as possible. Now, that's not always mathematically the most effective way or the quickest way to get it done, but it does provide you that little psychological win with every single debt you can pay off. And you can start paying off debts quicker, usually accounts quicker, I should say, when you go after the smallest account balance first. The debt avalanche method is very similar, but instead of looking at the smallest balance first, you're going to look at the highest interest rate first and pay that off the quickest. The advantage there is that mathematically you're going to pay the least amount of interest doing the debt avalanche method, but it might take you longer to start fully paying off some accounts. So how do you choose which method is best for you? Well, the questions I'd be asking myself when I'm trying to figure it out is, do I care more about the psychological wins, or do I care more about paying the least amount of interest to get the program done as quickly as possible? I can answer that for you, but if you're sitting there asking yourself, I'm not really sure, or you fall somewhere in the middle, I think for most people, the debt snowball method is more effective because those psychological wins will really keep you motivated to stick with your debt payoff plan and to really get motivated as soon as you start seeing those first couple accounts paid off. If you're someone like me that really doesn't care about the psychological wins and the only thing you care about is paying the least amount in interest possible and getting it done as quickly as possible, then the debt avalanche method is clearly the choice for you. Now that you have your debt payoff date calculated, you should take an evening to just sit down and think about how you're going to reward yourself when you do hit your debt payoff date. Like, you're going to be working really, really hard. And I think it's important that you reward yourself. Not only is it going to be fun to just celebrate being debt-free, but then it gives you something to look forward to when you finally hit that date. It could be something like throwing yourself a debt-free party with your friends and family. It could be, finally going out to that fancy restaurant that's super expensive but sounds amazing. Or maybe you book yourself a trip for the weekend, but obviously whatever you do, don't go back into debt to celebrate paying off your debt, because then we're right back where we started. I think it's really important that you figure out how you're going to celebrate paying off your debt once you're totally debt-free. And if you really want to have fun with it, you can turn it into a game or give yourself a competition. Look at your debt-free date and say, okay, now I'm going to beat it. Figure out, what do you have laying around your house? Do you have extra clothes laying around? Do you have stuff in your garage that you don't use that you could sell? Could you pick up extra shifts at work? Maybe start getting some overtime. Maybe start a little side hustle just to start creating any extra income you can and throwing all of it towards your debt. And just seeing how quick or how much time can you beat your debt payoff date by. And just really enjoy that moment and just think, like, how great is it going to be? How great is it going to feel when I'm just totally debt free? Just think about that, and it'll help keep you motivated to get really, really aggressive and get that debt out of the way, and you'll never have to look at it or worry about it ever again. Thank you so much for watching the video. I really hope it was helpful for you in paying off your debt. I'd love to hear what your debt payoff date is and how you're going to celebrate being totally debt free. So drop that in the comments below. If you haven't already, please like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can see more videos like this. It really does mean a lot to me for each and every single one of you that like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks again for watching the video, and until next time.